Hello viewers. In present video, I am going to derive the location of Fermi level inside an intrinsic semiconductor. You can please recall, this is what I did in the previous video for the calculation of hole concentration inside a valence band of an intrinsic semiconductor. We have arrived at NV exponential of EV minus EF by KBT. This is for hole concentration P. So I'm going to erase this and I have written this only to show that we have done this in the previous video. Okay, I'm going to erase it. So the article is location of Fermi level inside intrinsic semiconductor. So we are going to calculate where does this Fermi level lie. So let me recapitulate here. So we got P equal to this. Let me write it here. P is equal to NV exponential of EF, of course, EV minus EF divided by KBT. And you can recall the expression which we have derived for electron concentration in intrinsic semiconductor that gave us N is equal to same NC exponential of EF minus EC divided by KBT. These are the expressions which we have derived in the previous two videos, right? Where NC and NV are easy to remember. This NC or NV you can easily remember, which is nothing but 2 into 2 pi m star kbt divided by h square whole power 3 by 2. This m star, if you are writing conduction band Nc, it refers to effective mass of electron. If you are writing Nv, the valence band, it refers to the effective mass of hole. So Me star or Mh star, which you can write depending on Nc or Nv. This is easy to remember. And don't get confused, it's not Nc by Nv. Nc or Nv, you can write it like this. Okay. Now I want to know where is the Fermi level inside the intrinsic semiconductor. Here I'll recall the fundamental fact that inside an intrinsic semiconductor, the hole and electron concentration is same per unit volume. So no matter at what temperature you take, there are equal number of holes and electrons inside an intrinsic semiconductor, right? So if that is true, then what I can do is I can simply equate P equal to N for intrinsic case, right? So if I equate both of them, I can write this equal to this. So NV exponential of EV minus EF divided by KBT gets equal to NC exponential of EV, of course, EF minus EC divided by KBT. So here, what am I going to do is I'll pull this term to the other side. So this exponent goes to the other side. This comes over this side. So I'll write this as NV over NC is equal to, this goes to the other side. You know, when e power x goes to the other side, it becomes e power minus x, right? So I can write this as exponential of, this term I am writing as it is, EF minus EC by KBT. And as this term goes to the other side, it becomes negative minus EV minus EF divided by KBT. So, you know, this is minus, so minus EV and minus of minus plus EF. So this is one plus EF and this is one plus EF. So the total is going to be exponential of 2EF minus, I'll write minus common, EC, and this is EV, so I'll take this as EV. Minus is taken as common, KBT. Okay. Now, in order to simplify this expression, I'll take natural logarithm on both sides. Natural logarithm, ln, right? So if I apply this, ln of NV divided by NC is equal to, you know, ln and exponent term. I am not going to repeat the same term. The same bracket term will appear here. Logarithm and exponent will cancel out with each other, retaining this bracket term. So this is equivalent to 2EF minus EC plus EV under bracket divided by KBT, right? So if you pull this KBT to the left hand side and pull this EC plus EV to the other side, it becomes 2F is equal to EC plus EV plus KBT ln of Nv divided by Nc, right? So this is the term. And if you want to know the EF, because this whole exercise is for location of the Fermi level, you just drop this 2 and divide it by 2 here and write a half here. Or you may write it as kBt by 2 directly, right? So this is the location of Fermi level in intrinsic semiconductor case. You can also express this in terms of mh star and me star. See, instead of writing Nv by Nc, what you can do is, if you calculate Nv by Nc, we want this. So Nv by Nc, what is that? Both Nv and Nc have the same terms except this mh star and me star. So what you can do is, in place of Nv, you retain mh star whole power 3 by 2. And in case of Nc, you retain me star, effective mass of electron, whole power 3 by 2. Apart from this, it is the same. So I can combine both of them and say mh star divided by me star whole power 3 by 2. Right? So this is going to be Nv by Nc. So you can write this expression further as Ec plus Ev by 2 plus, see this Nv by Nc. Nv by Nc, let me take ln of Nv by Nc. I just want to calculate this. Ln of Nv by Nc. So Nv by Nc is this. So it is going to be ln of mh star divided by me star whole power 3 by 2. Log of a power m, which is nothing but m log a. So m log a means it is nothing but 3 by 2 into ln of mh star divided by me star without any power. Right? So if I put this here directly, this expression tells me, so in place of ln of Nv by Nc, I can write this 3 by 2 of this term. As it is 3 by 2 and there is already half kBt. So this is going to be total 3 by 4. So this is going to be 3 by 4 ln of, sorry, kBt is there, 3 by 4 kBt, 3 by 4 kBt into ln of mh star divided by me star. So this is the location of Fermi level inside an intrinsic semiconductor. Clearly you can convince at absolute zero, T will be 0. At absolute 0, the second term will be absent, whether it is mh star, me star or mv or nc. Only this term is retained. Ec plus ev by 2, right? So this Ec plus ev by 2 is nothing but the midpoint of the gap. Because after all, let me show it here. If you recall the energy band diagram, this is position R, this is energy E. So this is EC and this is going to be EV. And EC plus EV by 2 means it's exactly the midpoint of both EC and EV. So this is the location of EF when you take the semiconductor at absolute zero. So the Fermi level falls exactly in the midway of the gap, energy gap of the intrinsic semiconductor. This is at absolute zero. Now, what happens when you take this semiconductor at room temperature? Because T is always positive, T cannot be negative. In that case, you can understand in two different ways. If at all mh star by me star is greater than 1, or if at all Nv by Nc is greater than 1. See, it depends on how the semiconductors are doped. So, I mean, how the semiconductors effective masses are there. So, we don't know. If it is mh star greater than me star, in that case, the log of the term is positive. So, positive is greater than 1. Greater than 1 means it is some positive quantity. Some positive quantity means with rise in temperature, this term is going to be increasing. So, it is a positive slope. If you take T as X, this is as constant and EF as Y. So, this is going to be Y is equal to some constant C plus slope into mx, slope into x. The slope m is going to be this kb by 2 ln of this term. This is the slope and t is the x-axis. So definitely with increase in temperature, this EF is going to have a positive slope for mh star greater than me. Now if you have other case where mh star is less than me, if that particular semiconductor has mh star less than me, in that case this coefficient, the slope m will be negative, and once again it is going to be straight line but with a negative slope. Instead of positive slope, it is going to be negative. So please pause the video, I will sketch all of them. So if I sketch this graph, this is going to be E, this is going to be the position, and here this is the conduction band edge EC, and this is the valence band edge EV, and exactly in the midpoint your EF will be. So this is the lower EF at T equal to 0 Kelvin. And same thing is applicable when mH star is equal to me star. If this is satisfied, then also the Fermi level will lie there. Whereas in a case where mH star is greater than me star, the graph is going to be something like this. It's a straight line with positive slope. Positive slope means the graph will be going like this. So instead of calling it as position, now you can call it as temperature, as we are plotting E versus T. So with increase in temperature, this graph is going to be like this. This is for mH star greater than me star. Now the other case, if it is less than, that is mH star, if it is less than me star, in that case it is going to be negative slope. So the graph is going to be something like this, right? So these two graphs are symmetric only, but the slopes are positive and negative, symmetric about this horizontal axis. So this is the variation of temperature, a variation of Fermi level with temperature. And there is one more corollary for this that I'll proceed to the next one. So please pause the video. I'm going to erase it. It's a law. We don't derive it. So what is this? It simply says P into N is equal to always constant, and this constant is called Ni square. So at any temperature, at any for any semiconductor, at any given temperature for any semiconductor, you take the number of holes in valence band and the number of electrons in conduction band per unit volume. Take their product. The product is always going to be a constant, and that constant is called Ni square. And here we call this Ni as intrinsic carrier concentration. Please keep this in mind. It's a constant intrinsic carrier concentration. We are going to derive this, right? So law of mass action is very important. We retain this, and we'll try to have some light on what is the Ni. So we'll calculate that Ni. Please recall the fact. Let me calculate the intrinsic carrier concentration. So after knowing this law of mass action, we are going to derive this expression. So this derivation is now I'm taking. So recall Ni square is equal to P into N. What is P? Already we have derived that as NV exponential of EV minus EF divided by KBT, right? Now multiplied by N. N is nothing but NC exponential of, easy to remember, here it is EV minus EF, there it is going to be EF minus EC. These are quite opposite, right? Divided by KBT. If you can remember one, you can proceed with the other. Easy to remember. So if you are writing this P, NV starts with EV. NV starts with EV minus EF, that is going to be opposite of this. Right? This is the way to remember. Now you can take this NV and NC aside, and you can take e power A into e power B, which is e power A plus B. You can take common. So this is exponential of EV minus EF plus EF minus EC whole divided by KBT. Right? So this term can be simply EV minus EC by KBT, because EF is gone. We are left with only this term. And let me do some operation to this NV into NC. You know, NV and NC, the product NV into NC will be, you remember the expression 2 into 2 pi m star KBT divided by h square whole power 3 by 2. Here, when you write V, it is going to be effective mass of hole, valence band hole. And if you want to write the same thing for conduction band, it is same 2 into 2 pi m E star, because we are talking about electron conduction band, KBT whole divided by h square whole power 3 by 2. So this is the product, right? 2 into 2. It is, once again, I'll retain it like this, 2 into, I'll write this term as 2 pi mh star, not mh star. I'll write this as right. I'll write this as kbt by h square. This is whole power 3 by 2, and it is, I'm writing as square, because in both the terms we have this term common, except mh star into me star, this term whole power 3 by 2. Right? Fine. So NV NC is going to be this. Therefore, my Ni square, if I want to calculate this Ni square is equal to Nv into Nc, which is nothing but 2 into 2 pi kBt by h square whole power 3 by 2 whole square. There is a reason for writing like this because Ni square is this. So square can be cancelled. That's why I'm retaining the term like this. Otherwise, you can just take it as 4 into this, or you can call it as cube. Only for this reason I'm retaining. And this into mh star me star whole power 3 by 2 into this whole term into what we are left with is exponential. Please look at this exponential. Let me write this term separately, EV minus EC. EV minus EC by kBt, or I will write it as minus EC minus EV divided by kBt. This minus is common. There is a reason for writing like this. Why? Because EC minus EV, conduction band minus valence band edge. So the difference is energy gap. Please recall, this is EC, this is EV, right, in the energy band diagram. So the gap is what you call as EG, energy gap. Right, this gap is of the order of 1 electron volt in the case of semiconductors, and generally for silicon it is 1.1 eV, for germanium it is 0.69 eV, right? Okay, so if you substitute this in place of, you can write it as EC minus EV as EG, energy gap. So this term now takes a new form. Let me write it here. With this, what I can do is my Ni, I am not writing Ni square, I want to take the square root on both sides. So this square and that square root gone. So I am left with 2 into 2 pi kBt by h square whole power 3 by 2 into this is mh star me star whole power 3 by 2. As I am taking the square root, it is going to be mh star me star whole power 3 by 4 because square root is 3 1 by 2 1 by 2 already power 3 by 2 is there, so it is 3 by 4 into, in place of this term I can write this as exponential of minus Eg divided by 2 kBt. Why this 2? Because e power minus x whole power 1 by 2, it is e power minus x by 2, and e power minus x, this is e power minus Eg divided by kBt divided by 2, which is nothing but minus Eg divided by 2 kBt. So this term is what you call as intrinsic carrier concentration. This is one important expression. This is the intrinsic carrier concentration. Please remember this. In the exam, it is an important question. Intrinsic carrier concentration. Suppose in the question, if they ask you to write, derive the expression for intrinsic carrier concentration inside an intrinsic semiconductor, if it is given for short answer, then in that case, you can assume this NV and NC, just like whatever I did here, you can assume both of them. But if it is given for essay question, then what you have to do is, either you can derive the P expression or you can derive the N expression. It's up to you. You can choose N or P. Any one of them you have to derive. And after deriving this, what you say is, proceeding in a similar manner, we can obtain the other. Suppose I have done for P, let us say, P I have entirely derived. Later, after that, what I can do is, proceeding in a similar manner, one can obtain the electron concentration N is equal to Nc into this. You can write it like this. So, one you derive, other one you can neglect. I think N is easy to derive, so I suggest you to derive the N, and you can say, proceeding in a similar manner, one can obtain the whole concentration P as like this. And then, as P into N equal to constant according to law of mass action, so we can proceed like this and we can get the expression for this. So this is the way in which you derive the intrinsic carrier concentration. Okay. Now there is one more article. Please pause the video. Next article is intrinsic conductivity. This is what you call as sigma. Intrinsic conductivity. This is another expression. Sometimes they use the subscript sigma I. Right? So what is this intrinsic conductivity? Please recall there is an expression for J. J equal to NeV. V is sometimes referred as a drift velocity Vd. Just I am deriving this expression. It's not really required. You can proceed directly in the exam. You don't have to show this. Only for understanding sake, I'm saying. Here N is the number of carriers per unit volume. This is what you call as carrier concentration. If it is electrons, you call it as N. If it is holes, you call it as P. And E is the charge. If it is hole or electron, you just take it as magnitude because you don't take the sign. As J is a vector, it tells whether the current is in this direction or that direction. Apart from that, you just take the magnitude of E. Don't bother about the sign. And V is the drift velocity. Please remember, drift velocity Vd is depending on the electric field applied. It means if you take a conductor, semiconductor, or insulator, anything, there are electrons. We know that electrons are carriers. Some carriers are there. When we apply the electric field from outside, these carriers will be moving depending on their sign. If it is a negative electron, it will be accelerated left hand side. If it is a positive hole, it will be accelerated towards the right hand side. Whatever is the direction, but one thing what you can understand is the more the electric field, the more will be the drift speed. The lesser the electric field, the lesser will be the drift. So they are actually proportional to each other. And if you remove the proportionality, that proportionality constant is what you call as mobility, right? So this term can be safely written as Vd, drift velocity, is equal to mu times of electric field. Here mu is called mobility of carrier. What is this carrier? It may be for hole or it may be for electron. As usual, the convention is if I write mu E, mobility of electron. If I write mu H, it is representing mobility of hole, right? So this is the constant term, mobility, please remember. Now after deriving all, what I can do is, I can write J is equal to N E. In place of Vd, I can write mu into, if I am writing about electron, I'll write it as mu E times electric field. And I'll write this as Je because it is due to electrons. So the current density J due to electrons is given by this. Similarly, the current density due to holes, J hole is nothing but P. I will be writing carrier concentration with P for electrons, for holes. Charge of the hole is E. Remember, I said only the direction differs. If hole is moving towards the right, it is equally electron moving towards the left, right? Only direction is different, but it is some quantity of charge that is being flowing. So you have to add both of them. Don't get confused. If I take total current, you should not get confused. Electron is moving this way in conduction band, hole is moving that way opposite to the earlier one in valence band. So this current and that current gets cancelled. No, that is not the business. It is a transport in two parallel channels. So you can easily imagine with the help of a water drop analogy. Water drop analogy means if you take this kind of two pipes, assume that these are two pipes. So the set of pipes are attached with each other and the pipe is in horizontal position. Assume that there is a water drop here and assume that it is full of water with a small air bubble, right? So as long as you may imagine this as conduction band, you may imagine this as valence band. As long as everything is flat, there is no motion for this air bubble or for this water droplet. Now if I try to lift it, let us say towards the right hand side. So with gravity, I am simply lifting the channel. In that case, what happens is this water drop will try to move this way because it is inclined towards the left hand side. And similarly, this water bubble will try to move towards the other side. So water bubble movement is this way, water droplet movement is that way. But remember, even in this case also, water is moving this way. That's why the bubble is moving towards the upper side, right? So this is the water drop analogy. So you may call this as hole. You may call this as electron, right? So apart from this, there is no difference. So here it is conduction band. Here it is valence band. So while writing all these things, please keep this in mind. So you have to take addition of currents. You should not subtract any one from the other. Okay. So I'll erase this portion. Please pause the video. This is the water drop analogy. Okay. Now, so let me write this JH, the whole current, which is mu whole times electric field E. Clearly, you can call this term as sigma electron times electric field, and this is what you can call sigma whole times the electric field. After all, this term is sigma. This product term is called sigma. J equal to sigma E, which is the Ohm's law. J equal to sigma E, Ohm's law, right? So therefore, sigma H, sigma total, the conductivity is equal to sigma due to electron plus sigma due to hole. So this is equivalent to N E mu E, N, sorry for this. This is equivalent to N E mu E plus P E mu H. As we know, in intrinsic case, N is equal to P is equal to Ni. So this is going to be, I'm going to erase this portion. So this is going to be sigma intrinsic is equal to this plus this, which is Ni E mu E plus Ni in place of this E mu H. So finally, Ni can be replaced with this. Ni is nothing but 2 into 2 pi kBt divided by H cross square whole power 3 by 2 into mH star into me star whole power 3 by 4 exponential of minus Eg divided by 2 kBt. This whole term multiplied by, of course, this is Ni only. Here I can also take the charge of the electron as a constant, so I can write even 2e here because charge is a constant. This times what are we left with is there is a product term mu e plus mu h, right? So this expression is for intrinsic conductivity of an intrinsic semiconductor. So please remember, this is a product, this bracket term times this, and this completes the story of intrinsic semiconductor. Thank you.